The other thing that this template and example does is it brings in some of the most important things that you should be communicating to prospects, and I've color-coded those so that you can replace those with your own details. Hello, this is Michael Halper with Sales Scripter, and in this video, we're going to talk about one small thing that you can add to your cold calls that can have a big impact, and that is simply to share customer examples when you're talking with prospects. Now, this can have a huge impact because, first of all, by sharing customer examples, it can help you to establish credibility for what you're trying to sell and help the prospect to trust you more. It's similar to when you might buy something online and you look at reviews of a product. Picture looking at two similar products and one has no reviews and the other has a lot of very positive reviews. You will very quickly, without hesitation, purchase the one with a lot of reviews. Now, that same dynamic can come into play when you're on a cold call, and while you certainly can't sit there and read reviews for the product or service that you're trying to sell, what you can do is share a customer example or two, and it could have a similar effect on the prospect that you're talking to. Sharing customer examples can often help you to explain what you sell. If you sell something that is not commonly sold or something that the prospect might not already have knowledge of, the prospect can often get confused or not have real clarity around what it is you're talking about when you talk about what your product or service does. And one thing that you could do that can make it more clear is start to explain another customer that you sold your product or service to. This could be the difference that helps the prospect to start to understand what it is you're talking about. And by telling a story of how you sold your product to someone else and how it possibly helped them can help to make the prospect more interested. And on a cold call, this might not create enough interest to where the prospect wants to buy from you, but this additional interest could help you to close the prospect on moving to the next step. Now, keep in mind, all we're really talking about here is sharing an example of a customer. But this can be tricky on a cold call for a couple reasons. You only have a small amount of time to work with, and it can often be difficult to share an example of a customer in that small window of time. And with a cold call moving really quickly and being very short, it can be difficult to figure out how to squeeze that customer example in. We'll address both of these challenges on this video here. We're going to show you how to create a really short, concise customer example, and we'll show you where to use that customer example during your cold call. So here I'll show you a customer example for our sales script at Sales Scripter. And what I'm going to show you here is a template that you could remove our details and insert your own and use this as a customer example on your cold calls. We worked with a sales trainer at a software company, and they were having difficulty getting their reps to learn the pitch. We helped to solve that by implementing our smart sales system. This not only made it easier to teach reps what to say, but ultimately it helped to make the training department look a lot better. Now, a couple of things here. First of all, this is 3 sentences, 3 bullet points. So it is very short and very easy for you to deliver this in a very small amount of time. The other thing that this template and example does is it brings in some of the most important things that you should be communicating to prospects, and I've color-coded those so that you can replace those with your own details. Use this template, insert your own details, and this can help you to share a very quick, concise customer example when talking to prospects, whether you're cold calling or in a presentation or you're networking or you're leaving a voicemail or sending an email. You can use this structure. Now let's talk about how to squeeze that little short example into a very quick cold call. And to help with this, we're actually going to use the cold call process that we talk about in a lot of our videos. And by laying out this process, we can very clearly look at where in the process to squeeze in this customer example. And it's really just 2 different spots. But the cold call process is, first you start with opening the call, then you share the purpose for the call, then you do a sales takeaway, ask some questions, share some pain points, share some info about you, then go for the close. And like I said, there's really two key spots to share a customer example. First of all, you could share it at the very beginning and share the customer example as the reason why you're cold calling the prospect. Or you could share it at the end, right before you go for the close. Share just a little bit more details about how you helped someone to build that interest right before you go for the close. And let me show you what both of those look like. But before I show you that, we're not going to go through each step of the cold call process and explain all those different steps. If you haven't seen our video on the cold call process, I'd encourage you to watch that. Go to our YouTube channel, then the playlist, The Smart Sales System, Sell Smarter, Not Harder. Module 6 is on cold calling, and that will go through that process from beginning to end and explain each step. But let's get back to where to share the customer example. And as I mentioned, you could use it as the purpose for the call. So you might open the call with something like, "Hello, Tom, this is Michael Halper calling from Sales Scripter. Have I caught you in the middle of anything?" And then whether Tom says, "I'm fine, what do you got?" or he says, "What's this in regards to?" we then progress to the purpose for the call. And this is where we can use our name drop by saying something like, "Well, great. Well, the reason for my call, Tom, is that we worked with a sales trainer at a software company similar to you guys, and they were having difficulty getting their reps to learn the pitch. We helped to solve that by implementing our smart sales system," and then the rest of the name drop. So you then use that as the reason why you're reaching out. You help these other people. Now you're reaching out to Tom to see if Tom is similar, to see if Tom has the same problem, to see if Tom needs the help that you have to offer. And then after you share that name drop, you can progress to the next step of the cold call process, which is the sales takeaway, by saying something like, "But you know what, Tom, I don't know if we can help you in the same way, and that's why I'm reaching out with a question or two." And then you can ask some of your questions, maybe pain questions, current state questions. Okay, now skipping ahead, let's say that we go through the cold call process. We progress to a place where we're starting to share information with Tom about us, what we do. And after we share a few details about our product and our company, we could then transition to right before we go for the close to sharing our customer example. That might look something like, and real quick, one last thing, we actually worked with a sales trainer at a software company, just like you guys, and they were having difficulty getting their reps to learn the pitch. And you share the rest of the name drop example. And then after you share that, then you go for the close. But I've called you out of the blue, Tom, and I'm not sure if this is the best time to discuss this. And then you try to close Tom on the next step of your sales process. So that's how to squeeze in that customer example either at the beginning or at the end of your cold call. Now, if you want to use that name drop template and you have all the details to plug in to those opening places that you need to replace, such as if you have the pain point and the benefits that your product has to offer, and you can create that template, that's great. If you don't have the information about what you sell in order to create that really concise customer example, I'm going to go through a process here that you could follow along with your product or service to create the details to plug into that template. And it starts with the product or service that you sell. So for example, here is the product or service that we sell that I use to create that name drop example. The next step is to think about, well, who are we selling to? Who are we cold calling? The target buyer type for this brainstorming process is sales trainers. That's who we're selling to and cold calling. And the next step in the process is to think about, okay, well, when I sell my product to that target buyer type, what are some improvements that I can create on their side? Now, this can often be difficult to stop and think about, how can I help the person that I'm trying to sell to? And here's the trick. Most products and services will help the people that you're selling to in these key ways. Either you can help to make something work better, make something easier, decrease time, increase revenue, decrease cost, decrease risk, improve visibility. So what we can do is, with this list of ways that most products and services help, we can look at these and also look at the features of what we sell and think about, well, do we help in any of these areas? And if so, how? And with keeping the target buyer type in mind, we can identify that, okay, well, we can help sales trainers to make it easier to teach reps what to say. We can help sales trainers to shorten the new hire ramp-up time. We can help sales trainers to improve how reps perform. And we can help sales trainers to make their training department look great. So 4 really strong, attention-grabbing benefits there that should mean something to the target audience that we're cold calling, and we can use those benefits for our name drop example. And the next step in the process is to brainstorm pain points or problems your product or service can make go away for the person that you're cold calling. And our goal here is to think of 3 to 5 to 6 different pain points that we can talk about. And here's a trick. If we came up with a good list of benefits that we can improve for our target audience, then for each of those, there's usually an opposite problem that each benefit makes go away, or a problem that's resolved by creating that improvement. So what we can do is we can look at each of these improvements one by one and think, well, what is the problem that we can make go away for that target audience? And so each of these can help us to create an individual pain point and end up with a list of pain points that we can help make go away, and we can use some of those pain points for our customer example. The next step in the process is to brainstorm questions to ask. I'm going to skip this for this video because we don't need to ask questions as part of our process to include customer examples. But the last step of the process is to use some of that brainstorming that I just went through and use different pieces of that to piece together a customer example. And so it starts with thinking of maybe an actual customer that we can reference. And like I said, you can either think of the name of someone or the name of an organization, or you could use a descriptive label. Then we want to think about, well, what did we sell them? And then think about a pain point that they had before you sold them your product or service. And then think of a couple different benefits that you delivered. And basically right there, once you have that, it's very easy to plug that into this template. And then you can use this customer example. So that gives you what you need for your cold calls. But as you probably know very well, one of the most likely outcomes when you make a cold call is that you can get the prospect's voicemail box. And one thing that you can do is you can also use this customer example when you're leaving your voicemail message for the prospect. And let me show you what that looks like. So if we get the prospect's voicemail box, we can say the exact same thing that we were going to say when we open the call, which is something like this. Hello, Tom. This is Michael Halper from Sales Scripter. The reason for my call is we actually worked with a sales trainer at a software company similar to yours, and they were having difficulty getting their reps to learn the pitch. We helped to solve that by implementing our smart sales system. This not only helped to make it easier to teach reps what to say, but ultimately it helped to make the training department look a lot better. I don't know if we can help you in that same way or not, and that's why I'm reaching out. I'll try you again next week. If you want to reach me, here's my number. Again, this is Michael Halper calling from Sales Scripter, and here's my number again. So what you have there is a voicemail message that is centered around that customer example. And that's about it. Hopefully there's a tip or two in there that you find helpful, and if there is, and you want to return the favor, very easy for you to do. All you have to do is like, comment, share this video, subscribe to our channel. Any of those help us, and none of those cost you anything. If you like these tips, you may want to follow us on any of these social platforms. If you like this and you want to learn more, everything I'm showing you here today is part of the SMART sales system. SMART stands for sales messaging and response tactics. And we call it the SMART sales system because it's a step-by-step system that you can implement for yourself or for your sales team. And level 1 of the system, the foundation of the system, is to create that sales message, which is a collection of all the key things that you should be communicating. And once you go through our sales message brainstorming creation process, it's very easy to mix and match all those different bullet points and building blocks to create your cold call script. And as I showed you here today, not only can we use those bullet points for our cold call script, we could also use that very easily for our voicemail script and email templates and more. And once you have your scripts and everything, then level 3 of the SMART sales system is kind of the how-to. So how are we going to use our customer example when we're making cold calls and leaving voicemails and talking to prospects? And that's all explained in level 3. Now, the great news is that if you want to implement the SMART sales system, you can do it for free because it's all on YouTube. We put the full SMART sales system, our full training program, on YouTube for free. All you have to do is go to that playlist that I've already mentioned. And the reason why we give it away for free is because all of this does align with the product that we do sell, which is a software application called Sales Scripter. Sales Scripter completely aligns with all of this. For example, the foundation of the SMART sales system is to create your sales message. There is an area of Sales Scripter called the Sales Message Builder that takes you through the process to brainstorm Brainstorm and create your sales message step by step, and makes that process much easier. And once you have your sales message in SalesScripter, the software aligns with level 2 because it has a sales playbook, which is a library of scripts and emails and documents, and all of those fill in with your sales message. And that's how you end up with a custom tailored library of scripts and documents and emails specifically for your product, your industry, your target prospects. And SalesScripter also aligns with level 3, providing CRM and email automation functionality as well. And if you need more in addition to that, I'm available to provide consulting services. I help clients in all of these areas. A lot of clients I work with, I help them to create their sales message. Level 1, I help with level 2 of creating sales scripts and email templates and whatnot. If that's interesting, but you still don't know what to do, you may want to check out my book, The Smart Sales System, Sell Smarter, Not Harder. And here's a link of where you can get that. I'll put that in the description below. That's pretty much it. Thanks for being here. If you want more help, the best place to go is salescripter.com. If you want more tips, there are tons of videos on salescripter.com. You can also download ebooks for free. If you have questions or want to learn more about the SalesScripter software, this is the best place to go. There are plenty of demo videos that show you how it works and what it does and what it provides. If you want to contact us, this is the best place to go. You can get our phone number, email address, communicate with us through a chat window. And that is about it. Again, thanks for being here, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.